well, civilians of yesterday can become, the soldiers of tomorrow. Hello everyone, we are with the 25th Airborne Brigade, not far from Pokrovsk. Behind me, this Mad Max looking beast is a German-made Marder. It's an IFV, weighs roughly 31 tons, was delivered by Germany to Ukraine to fight not only on this front, but basically to help this Airborne Brigade become a mechanized brigade. Those IFVs can go up to 60 kilometers per hour, which is pretty fast. So there's a crew of 3 people. They can bring in assault troops, so 6 people. Basically, what you saw, the whole cage around that actually makes it look almost like a Bushmaster, is against FPVs. Why there are chains around? Well, that's because they need to have flexible cages against FPVs. What's interesting is how solid these machines are. Soldier told me that they rolled on three mines and the crew basically survived. 7 FPVs hit some Marders, the crew survived. So this is a very good machine, especially for this front. And it's also a reminder that, the involvement of Germany, especially in these times where Europe is trying to rearm and is trying to sort of finally take seriously Russian threat, can be a game changer here on this battlefield.
The armor is quite a bit stronger compared to a BMP. The downside is that it has an automatic transmission, so you can't drive it as hard over rough terrain or across fields. The transmission isn't exactly what it should be, but otherwise, everything is perfect.
The Marder, produced by Germany's Rheinmetall, was first deployed in Kosovo in the 90s, but remained untested on the battlefield until 2009 in Afghanistan. The 31-ton IFV operates in 6 countries, but Ukraine might be the one making the most of them, especially with soldiers like Cher, trained in Germany. It only took him 3 days to learn to drive it, thanks to the vehicle's simple design that makes it relatively easy to handle for beginners. Yet, those short trainings have some shortcomings.
During the training, we learned how it works in theory. In that system, everything works. But in practice, war is the practice. Yeah, some of our guys showed them videos of how we actually fight, and they were surprised. War isn't like it used to be.
The Marders that Ukraine received came with 20mm caliber machine guns. So you understand, this is my hand. This is a 20mm caliber, I want to call it bullet, I guess. And basically these can shoot 2,000 rounds per minute and 500 rounds per 15 seconds. Why it is important? Because when these guys need to clear a position, actually they can do it quite easily, and they can bring in soldiers and bring them out super easily while actually defending them against the Russians. It's especially important on this front, which is still very rough, despite a lot of talks that the situation is more or less stable. It's not stable. Russians continue to storm Ukrainian positions, despite the so-called will of Vladimir Putin to have peace, which is an obvious lie.
During my first trip out of the hospital, some shelling tore up the hood of our vehicle. Luckily, no one got hit. A shaped charge just pierced the hood. It was a tough ride, but in the end, we managed to bring everyone back.
The brigade's chevron adorns 3 stars, a reference to the flag of Dnipro Oblast. One of its companies was deployed in Crimea in 2014 and reportedly became one of the few, if not the only, Ukrainian companies to leave Crimea as a unit still bearing their arms. Their motto, always first. On February 26, the brigade's paratrooper liberated the village of Kotline, located 10 kilometers from Pokrovsk, and prevented the Russians from getting closer to the Pokrovsk-Dnipro highway, a strategic road in the Kremlin's plan to conquer Donbass.
Some of the guys that are here, had a life before the Russian full-scale invasion. And it's something that we tend to forget, that these are not necessarily military people by formation, but basically by choice. And it's an important reminder for those in Western countries that think that, war is still far. Well, right now it is ongoing. It means that, civilians of yesterday can become, the soldiers of tomorrow.
I found my motivation. Before, I stood for the people, for the nation. When it all started in 2022, I knew I was in the right place, in the right unit. I fully understand that taking someone off the street, handing them a rifle, that's like, excuse me, a monkey with a grenade. But I know what I'm doing. I'm not bragging, but I'd say I'm a solid 3 or 4 out of 5. Fear? Hit me at some point, won't say exactly when. But once it came, it never left. Now, I think about things differently. I didn't have a wife before 2023. Now I do. She's always at home. I'm always here.
And that's actually also what Ukrainians are going through now. And it is indeed an important reminder for those who believe that the war is far.